the attendees and times. So our presentation from Dr. Ross Hammond is going to be at 3 o'clock, and the mayor will be joining us at that point in time, but we can go ahead and try to get some other conversations going and business taken care of before then. I mentioned to you guys at the last meeting, which seems like it was like 10 years ago, but I know that it wasn't, that Richard Maddox had volunteered to take over as what Laura was working on as far as a business toolkit. And Bobby has graciously volunteered to help him on that. I just got the information out to Richard in the last couple of weeks, and he and I have had some preliminary conversations, and I just wanted to throw out some ideas that he had that I thought had a lot of merit to them. And then hopefully, in the next couple of meetings, we'll have a draft of a toolkit to look at. But I think that there's some homework we need to do beforehand. One of his concerns, and I think is a valid point before we go into this, is the resort area has always been viewed by locals as not a very diverse group, and that it is, your typical white male hotel owner down here. And Richard thought it would be a very interesting data set to collect to actually find out what our diversity is at the oceanfront as far as business owners, what are minority owned or managed by, and have that, because I agree with him that I think that it is going to be a much more diverse number than what people think that it is. And at that point in time, we can start laying some groundwork for the toolkit. And I haven't run this up the flagpole as far as who could do the survey or what the legalities of what questions we could ask. And I'm sure that there are some that we can't, but I guess I just wanted to throw it out on the table to see if you guys were in agreement with the resort area undertaking this project.
I think we, way back in time, the Human Rights Commission had that information, and I don't know the legalities. I actually do know the legalities of requiring it, but if we just ask voluntarily as commissions, I mean, I don't think anybody has any problems with volunteering that information, which I think would be really good for us to know, again, as things have changed and continue to change. So I think it's a good idea.
Right. Okay. Well, having said that, I'm going to get back with Richard and Bobby, and maybe the three of us can sit down and kind of work out how that will go and go forward from there. Francis, I know that we had talked about last time with the Courageous Conversations, and I was hoping that we could actually pick out some dates, maybe in either in the middle of September or maybe in November. Everybody, I can tell you down here, we are so understaffed right now, and it is very difficult for people to step away from their businesses to do anything like this. So I would like to go ahead, if it's okay with you, and get a couple of dates on the books, or at least one date on the books, that we could start the program.
That'll be fine. I'm open to doing that.
Okay. How does the group feel about maybe the first week in November?
That's good. I just want to make sure, and Francis, I've been meaning to get in touch. I know I keep asking you, can I chat with you, and then I don't call you, but I feel a little bit guilty that we've kind of put this in Francis's lap, and I want to make sure that it's not too much on you, Francis, to to head this. It's kind of it's probably going to be a little high visibility, and it's a lot of responsibility. Are you still? And I hope you feel comfortable enough to say this during the meeting. But are you okay with going through with this, or how do you really feel?
Well, I agree with you. It's going to be a high visibility and, you know, controversial and all of that. I do have troops that I can call on to help me to facilitate such a meeting. And I would hope that we would start with a small group that's a group of this size. I know we still would have to publicize it. It would still have to be, you know, an open meeting, but I feel comfortable about it. I just feel regretful that it has taken us to this point, you know, that we are just getting around to having those initial conversations between us first and then with the community. So I'm willing and ready because they're essential. We've got to get to those. So many misunderstandings and so much confusion. It's time for us to talk.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure.
I was thinking about a group of maybe 8 to 10. I mean, do you feel like it needs to be more than that, or?
Yeah, I think a small group would be fine.
Okay.
Just to get it started, get it off the ground.
Perfect. Okay.
I don't know if it would be by invitation. I don't know if I want to open it up. I would hope that it would be, you know, by invitation that you would, you know, choose.
Yeah, what I
people.
was going to start with, if it was okay with you guys, is maybe select 4 or 5 of the RAC commissioners, as opposed to just opening it up to the whole resort community at this point, and let them kind of be the guinea pig on the first go around of this, so we can work, you know, through any bugs in the system there, and have them participate. And then we can decide how we're going to move forward, if it's, you know, in a series of smaller groups, or we open it up to an open forum, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd like to include human rights commissioners as well. You know,
Right.
or 3 or 4 of those, and 3 or 4 of the RAC commissioners. So that would be perfect.
Okay. Yep, I think that would be a good goal to hit on this first one. That first Friday in November, how does your schedules look, guys? I know we normally meet on Fridays.
I that if that fits, that's really a good idea, because just changing the time threw everybody off today. If we can stick to Fridays,
Yeah, I think if it is all possible, and you guys, you tell me, I mean, I think let's move it up from 3 o'clock to 2 o'clock, just for those of us, you know, that are working nights. It'll be easier to, if that's okay. Okay. Dominique, can you record that then, that we've got November 5th at 2 o'clock, and that I'll submit the names on for the RAC commissioners that will be joining us, and Francis or Sylvia, you guys can submit the names for the Human Rights Commission.
Do you think it would be in person or would it be virtual?
Personally, I like in person. I think it's more me. But you know, that's just me.
until as of the 30th, we have to now meet virtually, and the standing what is that we have now is that if you can't make it, you can call in, but you're allowed only 2 of those, or however a percentage of meetings. So it has to be in person from now on. This is our last virtual meeting for the Human Rights Commission.
Right.
Okay. So I'll wait to hear get a confirmation before I move forward. So.
Right.
And Francis, I yield to your expertise of who you would like to have from the commission to represent us, if that's all right with you.
Okay. Yes, that's fine.
And Dominique, maybe if somebody can check with the CVB office and see if we can get that boardroom, the one that we used to meet in so much.
That's exactly what I was gonna get at next, is that with it being in person, we need location. So I can get with Kathy or Robin and see,
Okay.
you know, what location you guys use and get that reserved.
Right. I mean, we're not going to need a big room at the convention center for this. So
Right.
that boardroom would be a little more personal.
Okay.
Okay. That is my list, guys, except for the presentation from Dr. Ross Hammond. If maybe I can open up the floor if anybody else has got anything to come forward on. I know that we've had a lot happening since we last met.
Anybody have anything they'd like to share? Mark, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on.
You've been our boots on the ground just about every weekend, and weekdays. Do you have anything you want to share with us?
I mean, I think they're doing a real good job out here. Everybody's working together. The ambassador program seems to be working. There's a low number of homeless people on the street out at the oceanfront, so that's a plus. So I think everything. The biggest concern I have right now is they are shutting the library down. I think starting on the 26th, and that has been a place for people to go to get out of the heat and cool off and use the restroom. So I do have a concern about that. And I've mentioned to a couple people, so we'll see where it goes. But that's really the only issue I see that could be coming up. But I think everything else has been handled real well at the oceanfront right now. They've done a good job.
Mark, are the representatives for the homeless? I know there were two different individuals that had been assigned to the resort management office. How is that working? And are the ambassadors working with those individuals?
They are. Rodney and Mike are the two that are assigned to the oceanfront. I actually met with them just yesterday just to see how they were doing. I see them probably 3 or 4 times a week at least. When I'm out there checking to see what's going on, they're usually out there on the strip. They seem to be a little overwhelmed, but I think they're getting it under control. Crystal was out there working with everybody on both sides of it. She's the one they report to. And it seems like everybody's working as a team, and it seems like the ambassadors are engaging the people who are out there and giving them referrals. So I'm impressed on what's going on. The community seems to be not feeling any pressure, so that's a good thing also. And then, everybody's trying to get back to normalcy. So Potter's House is up and running. Star of the Sea will start, I think they started this week up and running. Penn's picking up the pace a little bit. Like I said, the biggest concern is a time frame between when Potter House and Star of the Sea shuts down and Penn opens, and making sure there's a place for people to go so they're not in the restaurants and using the restrooms and things like that. So, and I brought that up at the oceanfront meeting and make sure that we have a safe place for them to go to get out of the heat, and that we don't have people, wandering around trying to figure out where to go.
Right. Well, I know that there had been a problem area up across from the 24th Street Park in front of that Walgreens.
There was 1 or 2 people out there. We usually, like I say, I usually go out there in the morning, and then I go out in the afternoon, and I'm back out there on the evening just to see where people are standing and where they're sleeping. A few handful, not like we've seen in the past, that's for sure.
Right.
I would say that the numbers, I heard a number of 83 from somebody, so I personally went back out to see if I could count 83 people, and I couldn't find 83 people anywhere
Right.
on Atlantic Avenue. Now I've heard there's some push to the on the boardwalk side of it. So people have moved that way now since they're leasing Atlantic Avenue. But again, I don't see that many people that we've seen in the future. But there's still some still in the hotels. They're still wandering, moving that down. So we'll see how that looks, in another month once they've closed the hotels out and the people who didn't get housing or wouldn't take housing are back on the street.
Well, I was told that they had already moved a lot of people out of the hotels, and that was the reason that there was an uptick with what we were seeing on the streets. Have we run out of money for that, or?
Well, the program wasn't meant to go on. It was a winter shelter program. They don't call it winter shelter because of COVID, but so it wasn't an ongoing program. And the problem right now, as we all know, is finding affordable housing for anybody to go into.
Right.
And that's the issue that everybody's running into, is finding a place for people to go. We currently have 6 kids that are waiting for housing ourselves that can't get anywhere because there's no place to go. Our usual places to go are just booked up, and there's no movement in the rental market, and the prices are going up.
Right.
What I did notice, we didn't take roll, but Dominique, you've got everyone who's here, and I think most of us can see. And welcome, Stacy Parker from the newspaper. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Sylvia, if I could say something for a second. This is Ginger. I wanted to congratulate and thank Bobby for getting the entertainment going on the Oceanfront. And I wonder if you could share with us your thoughts on how it has gone, and in light of how, the difficulty of getting started and all, if you wouldn't mind.
It's certainly a multilateral effort. It's not just one person.
You're going in and out on us, Bobby. We're losing. Looks like you're losing connection, Bobby, so we can't hear you or see your video. Can you hear us? Because we can't hear you at all. You're going in and out. Hello, Bobby? Yeah, I think his connection is
yeah, maybe he's resetting. In the meantime,
I can tell you from the stakeholders' perspective, the entertainment has been a godsend. The Bands in the Park, Stars in the Park program has grown. It is growing, and it has had some really good crowds, and everybody seems to have a great time. The Live on Atlantic, which are the smaller acts on this, there's Bobby. He can tell us more about it than I can, but it has all been great.
Bobby, can you hear us now? Yeah, I think you might have a bad location. If you turn off your video and just use your audio on your phone, it might be a better, you might have a better chance of being able for us to hear you.
While he's doing that, just HRC update. We have, and I can't remember since our last meeting was so long ago, we've done we've ordered, or we're ordering wristbands. I forgot how many. They're little blue wristbands for the ambassadors to pass out, which says Better Together. And I think on the other side, it just says Human Rights Commission, just so that people like to get little freebies, and it's a kind of a sign of goodwill. And we've also, the Independent Observer Program, we organized so almost militarily for the Something in the Water program, but for the rest of this year, we decided that what we do is put the link up for anybody who are regular observers and public who want to observe and make reports. They just we've got the link up, right, Dominique?
Yeah, I can send it out to the RAC members if that's something you would like. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We can pass that around. And it is anonymous, right? If they don't want to identify themselves.
Right, exactly. Because it gives you a field that you can put in your information, and if you don't want to put in your name, you can just put anonymous.
Okay.
Did we get Bobby back by phone? Let me text him. You guys go ahead.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. And we can hear you clearly now. So I think it's the video that's probably eating up a lot of your bandwidth.
It could be right. Basically, we're doing fine out there. We've had good crowds. People are enjoying the entertainment in the parks, and I don't know what to tell you. We're just doing what we've always done.
It's had a good response so far, I can tell you that. We've heard a lot of good comments from the visitors coming in. And I did get a couple of business owners saying that they saw a lot of locals coming down to the Stars in the Park. So those
Yeah.
are all signs of success there.
I'll pass that on to everybody on our team.
Okay. Definitely needed.
Ginger, did you have more to say? I see a virtual hand is still up. Okay.
Sylvia, I know that this was not part of the formal agenda, but I wanted to just bring it up as an informal discussion for us. I know that there was a white paper that had been circulated, and maybe it wasn't publicly circulated, but it had some very interesting comments regarding things that we were doing at the Oceanfront, the increased police presence, the increased entertainment, and those are all really good things, but it doesn't address the root cause of the problem, which may be happening at home and in childhood, that's leading to, young African American men feeling that it's okay to carry a gun. And I really appreciated his sentiments until we changed that culture, until we look at what's actually causing this, that we're just constantly going to be in a state of enforcement down here. And that's a conversation that we haven't had a whole lot of with this committee. So, whether it's mentoring programs or whatever.
And you're speaking about the Chris Bonney paper. He gave me total permission to use his name and give it to anybody that I felt, and I was really, it was impressive that, I don't know how long we've been meeting as BJ, you and I have been doing this for 3-4 years now, but a lot of the information that he had in the paper, we had already addressed, and we've been trying to do the things that he thought, which that was good, because we're obviously hitting it on some of the right spots. But I think you're right. I think we keep trying to address the violence, the gun violence everywhere, but especially at the Oceanfront. And I wish we had a police representative here today, but we don't.
I think one of your commissioners has started a mentoring program. Are you familiar with that?
Mentoring program for
Yeah, it's
I can speak on that because it's probably the rumors about me, but I don't know. I am working with Jaquita from the Oceanfront. When I originally had this shooting down here at the Oceanfront, I got with her and we discussed what we could do, couldn't do, what we wanted to do. I'm doing this on a personal basis through my nonprofit. We'll probably pay, but we was at a meeting with the police department. And they were talking about, they were trying to do a program to take with the kids that are down here in the apartments. And what we've come up with is a dinner that we're going to go with. We're going to have 2 different dinners, one with the females and one with the males. And we're going to go to the different restaurants down here at the Oceanfront, do an activity. We're going to try to do it once a month. And we're just going to work with the Lannis and them and find out which youth are really needing this mentoring, and bring them out into the community and do some things that might not be able to do on a normal basis. Like I say, we'll hit some type of game thing at the Oceanfront and then go have a dinner at one of the restaurants that then might not be able to go to on a normal basis. And we're partnering with the police department, and like Chiquita with she's down here at the Oceanfront. So we've been working out the details, but it was something I did on a personal basis, just because I wanted to see what we could do to help the community and bring the kids out and at a younger age and start working with them and just see what they need and what we can do for them. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but that's something I've been working on.
well, we should talk about your program more. I don't think that was the one that I was mentioning. And Sylvia, it is the young man. We have met with him a couple of times. I believe he may be a pastor of some sort. Maybe I can't remember his name though.
The only person that I know right now that's talking about mentoring, Ron Taylor. I wish he was here too.
Ron Taylor, that's
Ron Taylor. That's right. That's right. You guys are from the same city.
right.
Yeah, that's right. And he seems to be very active in churches and other organizations. He's the chair or president of the Black Caucus, and so he's very interested in. I know there's a lot of talk about the police, whatever we want to call it. Ours is an internal review panel, but he's very interested in starting at the other end and going into the neighborhoods and doing something. And years ago, and I don't know when it stopped, there used to be a police athletic league that was active, and we had citizens who actually donated money so that some of the kids we helped get the rec center in SeaTac, and then some of the kids couldn't afford to pay the admission to get in for the yearly tuition, so we had people that donated money, and those
Right.
are little things that we just don't think about that that help along the way. But a lot of the kids from the Police Athletic League, and I don't know what happened to that, if it was just funding or people that we'd lost so many police officers. But
Right.
I think a lot of the kids, that was their identity. And I hear that too about the other programs like arts, and the arts and humanities gets overlooked in some of the communities. And he's really he's trying to get something started, as we call it, from the other end, rather than waiting until somebody gets arrested, gets hurt, and then there's a complaint, and then we, worry about a panel. Why not start with?
Right. It's being proactive to the problem.
Exactly. So, yeah, I wish he were here. Maybe I'll give him a text and he can join us with the rest of the folks.
Yeah, or maybe we can ask him. I just, Mark, with your program and this one with Ron, most of us don't know about this stuff, but are very interested in it, and supporting it. I'm just trying to think of what would be the best mechanism where we could get information together, and we could get it out to the business community that, even if each business would sponsor one child's membership at the rec center, then that would be a worthwhile cause there. Or sponsor a dinner at a restaurant for your group, Mark. So what's our best opportunity there?
And I've been getting on the fine details, the permission forms and things like that, working with the police department on their side of it, transportation. And I was going to reach out to the different restaurants and see who would want to sponsor maybe the dinners that we could come out to there, and the different groups that have, activities that we could come out to too. So we're still finalizing the details.
Okay.
It's still a little difficult with everything going on and trying to get everybody on the same path, but I will definitely let you know, BJ, when I get closer to things.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my darndest to get it out to, the hotel group, the restaurant group, and the RAC group, so that people are aware of it and what's going on. And the same with Sylvia, when you talk to Ron Taylor, to let him know as well. And Mark, I'll volunteer to have one of the groups at Rockefeller's. So I'm assuming they're relatively small.
Yeah. We're talking about 10 kids, and then the mentors from the community.
Got it.
That's a good idea. And
one moment, Sylvia. We have someone joining the call. I don't see a name. Can you identify yourself, please?
Yeah, it's Mayor Bobby Dyer. How you doing?
Okay, welcome, Mayor Dyer.
Hey, my apologies. I had a little computer problem logging on, so I got to use the old-fashioned thing, and my beeper's no longer with me. So I'm here on the phone. What can I tell you?
Okay, well, thank you for joining.
Well, welcome, Bobby.
Thank you, and I
It's BJ.
apologize for running late. How are you all doing?
We're doing good. You know, we're just trying to get some stuff done here, and we're waiting on Dr. Ross Hammonds to join us, and we can start her presentation with that. Kate, do you know if she's coming on at 3?
I really don't know.
Yes.
You know, I was taking care of a couple other things this morning that required my attention. Just so you all know, I did send a letter to the governor yesterday requesting that he join the other states and, you know, conclude with the, you know, the payments that keep people home, and let's get folks back to work.
Thank you, Lord.
Yes. Mayor Dyer, if you have any influence whatsoever, we were just talking prior to you joining us that we have so many subcommittee meetings. If there's, when he lifts the restrictions, if there's any way before the General Assembly meets, and I thought I heard they were going to have a special session in August, that we'd be allowed to have some of our meetings under the auspice of using virtual. Otherwise, we're going to lose some committee meetings and members. We've been so active. So if you have any influence, we really would appreciate it.
Yeah, let me see what I can do. I'll tell you what, if you could do me a favor, forward an email to me, you know, with the request and some of the justification, and I'll see if I can walk it through. Okay. And, you know, but let me just say that, you know, hopefully we got a good workmanship with the governor. We were able to open last year. And if you consider what we were looking at this time last year, and we were able to get the beaches open a little bit earlier. And I think we got, you know, things off to a good start. So I'm just hoping that, you know, we could really, you know, have the successful summer you all deserve and we all deserve. And even with the Human Rights Commission and everything, I think we together came through a very tough time better than a lot of cities. So, you know, and I was especially thankful to, especially, you know, the hotels and, you know, the restaurants, you know, in the state of the city. You know, we did have the highest percentage of hotel occupancy in the country. But once again, also with the Human Rights Commission, the way that people came together and help out the, you know, the elderly and the infirmed, and you know, we're strong. You know, the strength of our city, and I will always say, are people that live here, work here, play here, and have their businesses.
Right.
Thank you. I agree, and thank you for your leadership. I wanted to say, BJ, I wanted to say just real quickly, we were talking about the mentorship program. You know, when I had the Skyfest festivals, those were the Native American powwows, we used groups of students to help, and they would get little certificates, and I think they got credit in their school to for I guess for their volunteer work, a couple hours. And it was kind of like we made up things for them to do, maybe help set up chairs or take them down or do something. And then afterwards, we had, I think we had, we had a pizza party, and I think it was Doughboys that sponsored that one. But some of those little things, if other students and other people can see that, well, they're being part of what's going on and it makes them feel good. If we can kind of try and think to incorporate students that way, or young people,
Right.
It might help.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Bobby, since we have you a little bit early today and Dr. Ross Hammonds won't be on for a few minutes, we would love to kind of brief you on a couple of programs that this joint committee is working on, just so that you know we have those going on out here.
That is absolutely no problem. I plan to join you around 2 o'clock anyway, because I wanted to, you know, participate in the whole meeting too, because I really value the work both the groups do.
Awesome. Well, the first one that we're working on, and unfortunately, Richard Maddox is not here to better explain it than I, but he is working with us in developing a business toolkit, which is practical ways of increasing diversity, being more inclusive. You know, it's a lot of big companies have this type of thing, and they have human resource departments. We have a lot of small businesses that don't have human resource departments and really don't know from a business perspective how to appropriately handle this. So Richard and Bobby are working on this. And as an adjunct to that, we are going to be asking for city assistants to do some research on the diversity of the businesses down in the resort area. You know, we unfortunately, people have the perception that it's all white male down here, and I can attest to the fact that it's not. You know, and there is a lot of diversity, but we really wanted to come up with some hard data that would be useful to both the commissions and the city as far as the business ownership and management down here. The second thing that we're working on, and Francis Thompson, who is on the call with us now, has been spearheading this. And we've been talking about it for a year now, but we just set the first date for a starting a series of conversations in a program called Courageous Conversations. And Francis, if you could give just a little bit of a lowdown to Mayor Dyer on what that means, I think he would be very interested in hearing.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Hey, Francis, how you doing?
Hey, Mayor Dyer, I'm great, thank you.
What's happening? How you been?
Blessed, and I can't even tell you how grateful I am for that.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah, during my tenure with the beach schools, I was very instrumental in coordinating what we call courageous conversations about race. And they were very productive sessions when we just got a chance to sit and share and tell our stories, exchange stories about diversity and equity, and just talk about, our own perceptions about race and how our experiences have influenced our lives. So these conversations are facilitated by myself and perhaps one other, and we may just see it be productive, even if just for our own personal growth in those areas. I think it's going to be a good thing to get started here in the city commission. So we're going to, there's certain parameters. We have agreements that we come to as we open up and share our stories. And so I think it's going to be a very productive time of sharing. So I look forward to it.
And
Well,
Bobby,
I tell you, that's the kind of conversations that we need to have. And Francis, I'd like to hook you up with a young African gentleman I've been working with. His name is Joshua Banks, and he started I don't know if you heard of a group called Voices of Virginia, and he really is adept at having, panels of diverse people getting together and basically not afraid to be having the conversations. But also what we're going to be doing with the Idea Commission when we can talk about in a little bit. And then I also hope, we've been working, with all the mayors in the 757. Donnie Tuck has really been instrumental, charge with this. And, we're worried on not only youth violence and everything, but, just how we can build community going forward, and just really building those bridges. So I'm grateful for the initiative that you're taking.
Thank you, and I look forward to hearing about Josh Banks. I've heard some things about him, and Mayor Tuck as well. I have a friendship with him as well, so I'm looking forward to it, collaborating and bringing it all together. So,
well, we're going to be bringing a lot of folks are. That Human Rights Commission is going to be involved in this, the Minority Business Commission. We're going to, a lot of folks operate in silos, but we're going to be connecting hopefully a lot of, different people. We're going to have a workforce component on this. We're going to have a mental and physical health component of this, and we're going to have a workforce component of this. We're going to be bringing in, even though we have a central committee structure, but we're going to bring people in to form adjunct committees, to really come in and participate. And that includes the business community and, things what we can do just to build community and unity, better.
It sounds great. I'm very interested and very excited to be working in that area. So
Right.
thanks for the opportunity.
Bobby, we're going to start out. We're going to start out small with just 4 or 5 commissioners from RAC and 4 or 5 commissioners from the Human Rights Commission, and see where we go from there. As far as keeping it in small groups or opening it up or whatever. But that will be November 5th. So.
Okay, that'd be great. That's something to look forward to. And we could also keep you in the loop on, what we're going to be doing. And, but once again, when Amelia gets on, we can talk a little bit more about what we're going to be doing. And then, let me also get you caught up here. And I think this would be helpful to everybody. Since I've been on city council since 2004, we've always hear about the necessity to, when kids graduate college, to find them jobs here. And right now we are on the threshold of some significant economic development coming to Virginia Beach, which are going to bring in brand new, unencumbered revenue streams. And, we're talking about some, pretty powerful companies that are going to be making, they're paying pretty well. Even GTS, that company that just opened up the old, Elk Creek golf course is hiring at, some, very, very good, salaries. So we're looking forward to that, because that'll also keep families intact and keep things together. And, as we, trying to, work, hard to have a safe environment at the oceanfront, I think with some of the initiatives that we have going forward, especially with the sports center and a few other things, and we're building more, people are living more down there. So we're going to have more of a year-round economy, and this is going to provide opportunities for just many, many people going forward. And we are a blended community, and we take a lot of pride in our diversity. And the thing that I stress that when people come together, and I'm still the liaison, one of the liaisons to the Human Rights Commission. Just a magnificent group of people that take on some very, very tough subjects and do it with class and dignity. And, the whole idea is to do what you're doing right now, getting together and talking about it and working things out. I wish we can do more of this on the national stage.
Right. Bobby, Dr. Ross Hammonds has joined us now. Welcome. We were holding on for your presentation here and looking forward to it. So I guess, and I understand that it's going to be coordinated between you and Kate as far as a screen share, and we'll turn it over to you now for your presentation.
Let's put that. Thank you so much for granting us the opportunity to share what we would like to share. One of the things I want to at least share with you is what led up to this. I believe a lot in collaboration, in partnership, because the arts speak to multiple venues. And as you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and that's the same in art. And the title that you see, as you know, we have the Virginia African American Culture Center that we're working on. We're so pleased that the city was willing to gift us the land. And from then on, we have been doing several things in the community, programmatic, and including others. And as you see now, our name, Virginia African American Culture Center, moving all the way from starting right in Virginia Beach as we have First Landing and moving forward all the way up towards Northern Virginia. And who we are, I'll just give you our brief mission, or in fact, just our vision and go on. Our vision will be that we will be the statewide leader in generating historic and cultural contents through program artistic performances and curated exhibits. So we're not a museum, but we will have some revolving art and do things out to where people are. I felt the title we have, The Art of Healing a Community, was important because to me, if you have some healing, having murals and so forth, they can be very helpful in aiding individuals and give a collective healing, identity development, as well as social change by serving as a dialogical performance piece for quiet discussion and reflection. It serves as a tangible representation of expression and found to create opportunities to foster community and hence a sense of belonging, social awareness, and create connections to others, to ourselves, and a place. As you know, we have a cultural heritage here, and we've been through some trauma. So the arts and murals can bring to a traumatized community together to get more collective healing. And so this is how I'm looking at it. Something that is inclusive, that no matter what your cultural background, you can come view these pieces of art and get inspired by it, and as well as touch with someone else, find common value. And overall, we want to develop a sense of solidarity. We're hoping that we can get your blessing on this. This time, we're not asking for any funding. All we need is your approval to move this forward. Kate is doing the presentation part for us. She will move on to the next slide. As we're talking the art of healing, and hopefully she will move that along. But meanwhile,
It's a little bit of a lag. Oh, here we go.
there we go. Okay. And as you can see, the art of healing, not just each person, but an entire community. As you walk along that boardwalk, you can chat with somebody else, look at it, and it relates to social issues and human rights, embracing and showcasing the multicultural art community in Virginia Beach. And we have several artists who will be interested when we do the call for art to come out and do what we need on the boardwalk. We want that this will provide on the boardwalk a safe, socially distanced activity at the Virginia Beach Boardwalk for early summer or midsummer based on the timeline once we start, where no large public gatherings are allowed or lack of entertainment. It will provide our residents and visitors to the boardwalk an engaging, positive memory to share on social media with family and friends. And we plan to engage our youth from the different higher education aspect, from NSU, from ODU, from Virginia Wesleyan University, and even some from the Virginia Beach program for the Tidewater Community College. And going on a little bit more, we're looking at one thing that I picked up on was that VB Strong. That is important and it resonates with most people. So not only will they be walking along the boardwalk, but it will have something that's a public takeaway, something that's showing painting kindness, spread kindness. So at the end, we hope to have like either a little coloring page or something that people can take away and create their own miniature mural through a little rock. And we plan to have music piped from the boardwalk that is soothing, calm music. So this is why you see some of that on this page. And along with that, we'll have the art walk. We want to put it on the boardwalk. And we'll ask Kate if you can chime in on some of this at this point.
Sure. Yeah, these are structures that Vibe Creative District piloted back in 2019. And so these have been designed by a local architect and signed off on by a local structural engineer. And we have built 2 of them. One here you can see on the left is a single-sided mural that was put up for the Rock and Roll Marathon. And that is approximately 8 feet tall. So viewers are able to stand in front of it and take pictures. And then on the right side, in partnership with the, I think it was the American Music Festival in the fall of 2019, we replicated the initial installation, but actually dropped a banner from the back that faces the beach. And so these structures can be 2-sided, one side facing the boardwalk, one side facing the beach, and create these really dynamic visuals along the boardwalk railing. And that temporary structure gets sandwiched around the railing and then removed safely so that there's no damage to the railing.
Okay.
This is a sample of what the architectural rendering looks like without anything on it. And again, these would be professionally built and constructed by contractors. The positioning of them is open for discussion, and there's a plan that looks at anywhere from 5 to 15 of these along the boardwalk railing. And so the exact location can be determined based on what people feel are the best points of interest. We did note that we thought guidance from the Special Events Office might be useful in terms of which are the key locations to place these at high traffic beach access.
All right.
And then in terms of the timing, that is at the will of the mayor and city manager. And so we're looking at needing approximately 6 weeks out from the desired installation time to be able to help put out a call for artists with the Virginia African American Cultural Center that community partners are willing to help support and promote. And then 3 weeks prior, all of the artworks would go through review from the Virginia Beach Public Art Committee, through Cultural Affairs and Nina's office. Then looking at a week out or sooner if available, doing a press release out to the public, a week out construction of the wooden frames along the boardwalk. And then the banners would not be installed until the morning of the painting to limit any graffiti or any other unwanted attention. The artist could paint over a weekend, which would create a weekend celebration where the artist could be painting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, hypothetically, and creating that dynamic exchange between the public and the artists that are working, and those opportunities for public engagement that Dr. Ross Hammond was speaking of, where you can do the rock painting or other coloring book pages from Virginia Beach, just goodwill and good community building with the public. And then the duration of the art walk exhibition would also be at the will of the city manager and city mayor in terms of how long they would like them on the.
Thank you, Kate. As you see, what we wanted to bring in were well-known professional artists, that they would come in as our guests. They will also bring some of what they've done and also serve in a second role of looking at the murals to help us with the selection of the winners. As you can see, this young man, Renee Dickerson, is from Northern Virginia, from Loudoun County, and he works on acrylics and canvases, a masterful marriage of colors that reach each person in a unique level. So that was important to us because he's using a variety of colors to bring out the uniqueness, just like how the Human Rights Commission and many try to reach out of many one. His paintings can be found in the private collection. You can see Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey, Barry Gordy, and many other such celebrities. And he has a long-standing relations with the Temptation. In fact, he's working on a piece of work for them now and on the album. And he's known for his philanthropic works, because not only did we want someone to share their art, look at what our artists are bringing, but someone that has a philanthropic heart. because that is important for community building. And he's willing to donate some of his time as well to come for what we want to bring. And the next one we have is someone, again, if you notice, we're trying to keep our artists in our areas. So now we'll ask Kate to talk a little bit about this artist.
Sure. And both Nina and I have worked with Clayton Singleton before. You might recognize him from the Distinction magazine cover this past summer. A very prominent portrait there. He was named Veer Magazine's 2020 Muralist of the Year. He was a part of a recent MoCA exhibition. He was also one of the featured artists in Vibe Mural Festival last summer, and then in the Something in the Water Art Walk back in 2019. So we've got someone who's very well known and very well respected here locally with artists that would be a key player in pulling together the local artists and the right content and themes and goodwill in the community.
Okay, and another one of these are our special guest artists that will be along as the different ones for the call of artists will be in. What we plan to do is not only have them walk along, not only have the interaction of the painting of the rocks, but to hear a little story, like a storyteller. And you can see Morgan Avery McCoy. A lot of people now know her as one of the performers, one of the actresses in the famous movie Harriet. And she lives among us. She has done a lot of work for 8 years, crisscrossing the country. And when she was chosen for this, and she does fantastic storytelling. One of the most recent ones she has is Evolution of a Black Girl, from the slave house to the White House. And she literally is transformative. And after that, she tells you the story, you interact with her. Another was where she talked about the other, Mary Todd Lincoln, Lincoln's dressmaker for Mary, and she talks about sewing for freedom. She will talk also about an interesting topic, which sometimes people look at it a different way, which is called stooping to stand. In other words, a lot of the early African-American women took care of little babies, did the cooking, did a lot of things where their bodies are bent for stooping. And the standing is through what you brought forward. It has now been realized through your children. You did all of this work to make sure they got the education so that one day they could be a politician or a famous artist. So we'll have a little corner where people can sit, listen to her story, ask her some questions in that form. So now you have the when we say like a color quilt, talking about how the arts can impact people in many ways. And that can bring about major healing, like we talk about what you heard me say at the beginning, which is very important to us, that it will aid us in the social changing, dialogical performance pieces, discussion, and reflections. To end, you can see we have quite a collection of collaborators. We have the Virginia Beach Cultural Affairs. We have the VB Strong office, because they have been helping a lot of people and continue to do with the different trauma that has happened to the city. If we cannot talk about it, if we cannot express it through the arts, it is hard to heal. And this is why we're talking about this. And you have Kate there with the Vibe Creative Districts, where they extend their feelings through the art and through murals. And you have MoCA, you have the spoken word with Teen with a Purpose, and we also have the Human Rights Commission, who are very powerful in our area of bringing people together. We've also have in partner Listen, Learn, and Love, and we also have the partnership with Live on Atlantic. But we hadn't shared this with you, and we wanted to make sure we got your blessings. Again, there's no funding on your behalf because the city, and I'm so happy that we have Mayor Bobby Dyer in our corner. He's a man that reaches out. And so with all of those combinations, we're hoping we can get your approval, and then the funding will come through the city. If you have any questions,
Well, if I can make a comment, the one
Yes.
thing I found out that by using art and
Yeah.
music, we did a couple events through the Cultural Affairs Department. Music is a unifier. If you take a look on how the Vibe District has transformed, and with the art on the side of the buildings there, and just to see on weekends streets closed with people just sitting there in front of restaurants and shops and everything. This is just another tool. And I remember something in the water, the positivity we had. My wife and I stood on the stage and at night and looked out and saw 38,000 people unified, rocking next to each other with their flashlights out. I just think this is a tremendous opportunity that, once again, would really, make the oceanfront that welcoming place. But that's my focus group of one.
Okay. And that sense of solidarity. So we're hoping that we can gain your approval. And so this is why we're sharing this. We couldn't hear you.
You can, there you go, BJ.
Sorry, I forgot that I had actually muted myself. Just a couple of quick questions for you. One is, what a great idea. And there is a tremendous healing that goes on with art. I think hopefully all of us have experienced that. I certainly have. I had the pleasure of seeing your presentation prior to this meeting and had a thought that I didn't know whether you considered or would consider, because we're already well into the season at this point, and it's rapidly going by. But this seemed like a tie-in to me that would work extremely well with the Boardwalk Art Show. And I had a very preliminary conversation with Gary Ryan at MoCA, on her thoughts on that, because you have a large crowd that comes in, both from the local community and visitors for that particular event. And a lot of what they're doing, because it is more community-based this year, seems to tie in naturally with that. Is it something that you guys have talked about or would consider, or?
Well, we haven't talked about it. Sorry, you've got my little granddaughter who came on to say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
My name is Kennedy.
Okay.
You are just beautiful.
Thanks.
Okay. We haven't, but we're open. We're open to different suggestions. Gotta come down. So, we can discuss that, but we hadn't, looked at it in that form. And what you're saying is that with such a large crowd that comes out at that time, I need to ask Kate, how would that, because we'll be using, the actual
The
railing,
railing.
how would that impact people walking, or will they be willing to give us, if we're putting up between 5 to 15 large murals, as you saw those, would they be willing to give up that space so we can have that?
Yeah, I think we'd have to circle back with Gary and her staff and see the logistical footprint of the Boardwalk Art Show this year and how that could complement it, and
Right.
still do each respective project justice.
Right. And it's,
Right.
I think that it would be mutually beneficial, but certainly, you guys would need to work through all of the details. And just another comment from a business perspective there. And Kate, I know that you have heard this probably on numerous occasions, but there's not a restaurant or a hotel down there that is going to want their view blocked. And an 8-foot mural would do that. So I don't know if there's any consideration from a placement perspective, but that may be something just to kind of throw out there. I know that when I take this back to RAC, that is going to be a question that I get.
Okay, you're talking about on the boardwalk itself.
Right.
Yeah, from like the business restaurants or any first floor attraction. But
Right.
we've got
outdoor.
3 miles to work with. I'm pretty confident we'll be able to find some empty spots to avoid any kind of conflict with line of sight.
Okay. Well, thank you for these different comments because it helps us when we, circle back
Mhm.
to look at all the pluses, all what we need to be cognizant of the different businesses, that this will also be something that will, welcome and give people an opportunity, even sitting at the restaurants, to view it all the way out on the boardwalk. So we've got that, and I wrote that down, line of sight, and also looking at partnering with the Boardwalk Art Show. Okay, and anything else? Well, the big question. We're hoping we have your nod of approval by showing of nods.
Yeah. Dr. Ross Hammond,
Yes.
the way this committee works, it's a joint committee between the Resort Advisory Commission and the Human Rights Commission, is that when we have proposals that we're looking at, we take it back to our full commission bodies.
Okay.
And have the information vetted there and looked there. So I know that Sylvia and I will be glad to take it back to the individual bodies.
All right.
Okay.
And I thank you many years ago that you all did give me one of your Human Rights Commission award. And I hang that up proudly. Thank you.
I've won one of those as well, and it was one of the highlights of my life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right.
And well deserved. And yes, Ms. Hammond, we can't speak on behalf of everybody, but I have no doubt that this would be a consensus. But we do go back to our full commissions, and we'll let you know as soon as we do that. Thank you for the presentation. It sounds awesome.
Thank you very much. And thanks for having us and being active listeners to Kate and I, and also our illustrious mayor.
Well, Amelia, let me just give you a shout out to the rest of the folks here, stepping up to, be part of the African American Roundtable, then taking on the chair of the new Idea Commission. And we really think that we're going to be the template for a lot of folks and a lot of other cities on how to bring community together. And Dr. Ross Hammond is tireless with this. The African American Cultural Center is a passion of hers. And the whole thing is to make Virginia Beach that welcoming and, where everybody feels that they belong. And that's what we're going to be doing here. And I just want to thank everybody for their participation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just a word of a shout out, if ever you get a chance, I hope you saw it in the newspaper, that we do have a self-guided tour of African American history. And amazingly, the convention center, I brought the idea to them several years ago, and they went for it. And we have over 25,000 of those copies from here all the way to Northern Virginia. And we have gotten shout outs from AARP, even though they put my age in there. I thought, oh my goodness, but they did do an article and included us as celebrating Juneteenth and in Virginia Beach, that we've done it a couple of years before even the mayor did a proclamation last year before it became national. We heard from AAA. We've also heard from, there's another group, the Philadelphia Inquirer. So people are looking to come our way so that we can be a welcoming city for all. Thank
and
you.
Dr. Ross Hammond, Stacy
Yeah.
Parker is on here today. She did the story in the pilot for the
Oh,
African
my
American
goodness.
Guide. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Stacy. Yes, people love the story. So we're working on putting a mapping so people can go right to our site and link, because some people have been flooding me with Do you have copies? Do you have copies? We're putting that on our website so people, and we put one that you can actually print and download. So we're working very hard, even the public schools. We had a great meeting yesterday. And, you know, that's what we want to see, joy around. No matter what, there will be rain. But to be able to walk through that rain, to be healed and come out even better for having experienced what you have, to me, this is worth all the difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and congratulations on your successes so far. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
okay, Sylvia, I see that we have Ron Taylor's joined us.
Yes.
Hello, my friend. We were having a conversation about mentorship programs, and I had mentioned a little bit about what you were working on, and we were trying to collectively get information together for the business community down here to make them aware of what's going on. So I didn't know whether you just kind of wanted to do a brief couple of minutes for what you were working on.
Yes, what I'm working on is a mentorship of youth for our community to give the youth an opportunity for to improve the quality of life for themselves and their family. And also, we are about to engage with the JDR, Juvenile Domestic Court, as an alternative, using mentorship as an alternative to incarceration. Instead of sentencing them to incarceration, they come out worse. Why not give them opportunity to get a mentor and work with them for a year and get the desired outcome that we look to improve our community and giving them self-worth and building their self-esteem. And so we are part of Trinity and Men of Faith and working together to do that. This Monday, we'll kick it off with a One Die for All basketball camp down at the new convention, down at the new sports center. Think for Virginia Beach, and Mayor Dyer and the city council supporting that effort. We will offer mentorship to those 100 youth from Virginia Beach that may be needing a mentor, maybe needing a male model to improve the quality of their life and meet them where they are. And the business community can help out by partnering with Men of Faith in Trinity Church and becoming part of that. And maybe, giving them, showing them another side of life than what they're experiencing. And so, in that way, our community wins together and it reduces the type of behavior that at the oceanfront is unaccepted. And we can model for them the type of behavior that society accepts. And so that's what we are doing. We are training mentors, male and female. Right now, I think we just had a mentorship training, and they have to go through background check and fingerprint check, and, because the courts don't want anyone connected to them that would be a adverse adverse
Negative
effect to them.
impact, right?
Yeah. So that's what we are doing, and hopefully, some of the mentees will improve their life. We looking at Twin Canal, Friendship Village, Atlantis Colony Mobile Home. We are in there trying to make a difference in those individuals' lives, and we're looking for partnership with us to help sponsor some of this. To really improve our community, because as the lowest person rise, we rise together. Especially with that court system, that's part of to locking them up and getting them there with other people that with delinquent behavior, and they come out a lot worse than they went in. Hopefully, JDR is talking about partnering with us and using it as an alternative to incarceration. And that would help us out a lot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a presentation that you make on your program to different groups?
Yes, I do. I got a little form talks about what the mentorship is about, and what they get out of it, and also talks about the commitment of the mentor, because the mentor has to commit for a year and has to commit to do 4 hours a month minimum. They must have face-to-face contact, and also go through training and background, and do a mentorship report, because if you connect it to the courts, they want to see what's going on. What are you doing? Yeah, we have a little presentation that we do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Then I'll get with Kathy Warren or Robin to try to get you scheduled with one of the subcommittees with RAC so that we can start getting your information out there.
Okay,
And
that's
Mark, when
very
you're ready,
appreciated.
yeah. And Mark, when you're ready with yours, we can do the same thing there.
And BJ, one of the things is, I think one of our mentees that we have worked with here in locally, just to give you a praise report, he works at one of the hotels, and so what happened was he was on one of our field trips, and we always tell him they need help. Mother is on crack cocaine down in Orlando, Florida. Father kicked him out of the house, and he was at Green Run High School, and he called us up. So he moved in with a friend, started working at the hotel down there at 18, and he has designed something that would improve aerodynamics. And not only that, he won an award for graduate. He graduated this year, going in the Air Force as an engineer, an air engineer. And he was so humble because we took him fishing. We did he never flew on an airplane, so we had to take him to the airport to show him how to process flying on the plane. And when he got to Orlando past week to visit his mother, she's locked up again. And so and then we asked him, who's going to be at your graduation? He said, I don't know, nobody. So the whole mentorship showed up at Green Run and surprised him and took him to dinner, and he got one of the awards that one of the most impactful students in the community that represented Green Run. This is what mentorship does, and if statistics tell us that the community, that society should, the bad side of society should have swallowed him up, but we stepped in and corralled him, and he a part of our men group, and he's going to go in the Air Force as an engineer. And look out for Isaac Glister. He has created something that's going to revolutionize aerodynamics. And I told him, do not show it to anyone without that patent. And so he has it, and so I think he's going in as an engineer, come back out, and he's going to come here to Virginia Beach and start working on the prototype for whatever that design is to revolutionize aerodynamics. Look for that name. And he started off down at the Oceanfront at the hotel working.
Let me tell you, that is a story that warmed my heart. That boy, we all need to hear stuff like that these days. And I wrote his name down, so I'll be able to say I remember when Ron told us about him.
Yes. A brilliant mind, African American brilliant mind.
Well, you guys that are stepping out into the community to do this type of work, I just have the utmost respect for what you're doing there, and we're going to figure out some ways that we can help programs like yours and Mark's to move forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if Bobby D can jump in, Ron is another bright star that shines above with Virginia Beach. His group, Men of Faith, helps out youth. They help sponsor football teams. He's got a basketball league going at the Sports Center now. And ever since I've met Ron, he has been out there just trying to help build bridges between people, mentor people, and work with the juvenile detention center. And he's like the Duracell bunny, and definitely another point of pride in Virginia Beach. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Well, guys, that's all I had on my list. Sylvia?
I think that's it. Whenever you entertain Mark and Ron for their presentation, can we give an invitation, the Human Rights Commission, to that same meeting?
Absolutely.
That would be great.
Yes. Yeah, I've just got to check the schedules for the next couple of months.
Yeah, we're pretty busy too, but and I just want to say thank you to everybody that comes to these, because they've been going on for a long time, and it's real. I think it's one of the most important things that we do, and we've got to keep this joint effort going. I think I personally think it's been beneficial. I don't know about you, BJ, but it's been really great for us. So
Yeah.
very appreciative, and thank everybody for coming.
Okay, well, we've taken a couple of giant steps forward today, guys. So do we want to think about when our next meeting is? Do we want to have a meeting after our November 5th or before?
I'm gonna July. We were meeting monthly, then we went to every 2 months.
Right.
I know you guys are busy with the summer. You want to try and have one in August, or
the summer is very
bad, so we'll just go on and skip unless something arises that we need to meet. Hopefully there won't be anything, but September.
okay.
That would be a pretty good. We could probably have by then. The police usually give us an update statistically about what happened during the summer. That might be a good time.
Right.
Keep it on a Friday.
What do we look like on the 17th?
So far, it looks good for us. How about anybody have a problem with Friday, the September 17th? And we did say 2 o'clock instead of 3 right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to have to reserve a room. Tommy.
I can work with Robin and Kathy on that too, for that date as well.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me.
And thank you to both groups for doing what you do, but also thank you for collaborating. I tell you what, I think it's a beautiful thing. And hey, listen, God bless. Let's have a great weekend, and call Bobby D if you need me. Okie dokie.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Stacy, can we answer any questions for you?
Oh, we're all good. Thank you. I enjoyed listening in. Thanks.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Happy weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.